Oh my God, this thing gonna just drive me freaking crazy today or what? There we go.
It's almost time, get your DAG hats on.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you here on the DAG Show, and we're gonna get this party. What the hell just? Oh my God, everything is just a freaking mess here. Hang on. Honest to God, Dr. Felicity. Yeah, I think we can be heard. Let's try this one more time. It's always technical difficulties on the show.
It's almost time, get your DAG hats on.
Look at my mic's acting up. My mic cable's misbehaving. Everything's misbehaving today. I'm here tonight with the one and only Dr. Felicity Joy. And, I didn't turn your mic on. Say hello. What the hell is wrong with this mic?
Hello.
Now this mic cable's pissing me off. Why has my life got to be so stressful? I got to make better decisions in things like cables. So we're going to play some music for you here tonight, and we're going to talk. Tonight is all about races, the isms and the ists.
Isms and ists.
Narcissism and racism, and narcissists and racists, and how those words mean nothing anymore, and why.
We have new terms for those things.
We do. We
They're
have
good
brand new
ones.
terms. This mic cable's going to really irritate me if this is going to keep up. I've had this mic cable forever. Let's go ahead, and we're going to start out here. We'll play a song, let people get joined in. We got to do our sharing here, so join us here. And we're gonna, we're gonna kick a little butt tonight. It's gonna be a good show. You guys aren't gonna be disappointed. But we'll be right back here on the DAG Show. And here's a little 1096 to get this party started. That's what I'm talking about. This is, here. Doesn't matter what it is.
Good morning.
Here it is, 1096, and this is Emotion. We'll be right back here on the DAG Show.
That's funny. I stopped by there.
And?
You weren't there. In fact, they don't even know who you are.
What?
What's going on? What you been doing at night?
I don't have time for this.
Oh, you don't have time for this, huh? Really? Where are you going? What are you doing? Come on, what are you doing? Really? Where are you going? Come on, where are you going? Lay it out. Let's talk about life. Breathe in. Won't fret about tomorrow anymore. Don't wanna talk too much. I really think I'll miss your touch and love. Don't wanna let you go. It hurts too much to show you in my
right, we are back here.
I told
We're
him
having
his
we're having a
was
lighting
racist,
issue.
So he had to
We're
change
having
it.
having a lighting issue here, but that's better. It's a little bit better. What? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the DAG Show. And here I didn't do the intro. I worked on this and got everything set up early, and then all of a sudden, I'm back in the shit show here. So let's do our little promo here.
You're listening to DAG.
Oh.
It's the DAG Show, featuring DAG and some other people.
All right, everybody, welcome to the DAG Show with Dr. Felicity here tonight. As usual, I'm always excited about having you on.
It's good to be back.
It's always wonderful when you're here, and I'm clearly having audio struggles today. I got to go get some new mic cables and some things like that, and then my hair is very flat today.
It's very important to talk about that right at the top of the show.
It is, but it's really super hyper soft. But it's really flat, and I can't.
It looks soft though, and that's important.
It does. It is
think there are
important, but it's
points
so
for looking
flat.
soft.
Look, I can't get any body out of it.
Wow.
It's frustrating me. But it is what it is. I guess things could be worse in my life, and in some cases they are. Things are much worse in my life in some cases. So how are you? We haven't had you on the show. You haven't been here in a month.
Month of Sundays, as they say.
We've been talking a lot over that time, and almost 2 months, about doing a show on racism and narcissism, racists and narcissists and this and that. This is an important show today for us because we're going to address some of these issues, and I've done a lot of homework. I did the narcissist side for the obvious reasons, because there's somebody out there who's constantly calling me a fucking narcissist, and it's driving me nuts.
And my life is a study on being called a racist.
Your life is a study on being a racist.
Even a white supremacist, even.
And you look like a white supremacist.
Especially tonight.
Yeah. What do you mean? I don't even understand. She said that she says that the lighting's all screwed up because it's all screwed up. This is terrible lighting for black people, and I don't know what to do.
I'm bringing my own selfie light next time. It'll be fine.
I'll get we need like the ring.
Yeah,
we need
the ring does everything.
Well, we have a good show here for you tonight. We're going to play some good music for you tonight. I've got 1096. We're going to play some Savannah, who's a new Chicago artist.
No, she's from
she's not Chicago.
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach, Florida. A young lady who's really, really talented. And we're going to play some 1096 and a new Seventh Heaven song just dropped last week. So and they have a new drummer in the band, Mike Mouche, who's been in the band since the beginning. He's moved on. He's moving to North Carolina, and so Seventh Heaven has a new drummer. That's exciting. Great new tune, and so we'll be playing videos by everybody tonight, and we're gonna talk on this thing. So let's kind of jump into it. Let's dive into this thing. Let's get right in the water and let's get dirty. Tonight's show is on narcissism and racism bullshit reveal.
I love it.
Okay? So, you and I talk an awful lot on the phone. And in the last week or so, we've been talking an exorbitant amount in comparison, and talking on these issues. And one of the things that always bothers me is people using words and using them so much that they lose their meaning. Racism is one of those words, and narcissism is the other one. And, since you kind of handled the racism side, I'm going to kind of let you lead that. Because, one thing that pisses me off is every time you say something anymore, when you're talking about race relations, anything you say, any data, any statistical facts you quote, you're a racist. If I say 70% of all the violent crime in Chicago is committed by black people, I'm a racist for saying it, even though it's a statistical and it's full of truth and facts.
Yeah. Well, something else that's racist is I saw that if no police killed any black people in the next year, the number of black people killed would not be reduced by 1%. That is how much we are killing each other.
Wow. Now that's That's a bizarre statistic. So say that
and
again.
And it's very racist. So here it is. Because it's
you
so
racist,
true.
You.
Because it's so true. It's very racist. So if all the police officers did not kill a single black person in this next year, the number of black people killed would not be reduced by even 1%. That is how much we kill ourselves. We do not need any help from police officers for us to die at the rate we are dying. They are a statistical, police brutality on black people is a statistical anomaly. It is a nothing statistically.
Well, in 2019, there were, I believe it was 19 black people were shot by and killed by police officers. And in every one of those cases, they either charged the police, had a gun, had a knife, had something.
19 in a year. That's not a weekend in Chicago.
No, it's not even close.
That's like
it's not
Friday.
That's Friday in Chicago. Friday between the hours of 8 and midnight in Chicago, Illinois. So, and that's something that's staggering to me when people are talking about these, it's just nonstop. You can't turn the TV on anymore without hearing the word racist. And it's upsetting to me because I'm tired of it. I'm at the end of my rope with it.
I'm an English major, so it's very, the whole thing of where we're at with language right now is a big problem to me. I mean, when words don't mean anything, I just separate myself from people like that. I can't talk to people like that. When we have news stories about how math is racist, I can't do that with you. I cannot figure out how math is racist with you.
So there was there were these two college students at Northwestern, I think it was last week, and they had put up some posts, I don't know if you saw
sidewalks
about
being
the sidewalks.
Racist.
Well, the white people and how they walk on sidewalks is racist,
right.
And it's a white privilege thing because they walk with confidence. Essentially, is what they were getting at. I thought I saved the clips and I didn't. But when we start to talk about this and we get into this, I think what we're going to find here in this conversation tonight is the complete and blatant indoctrination in our universities, in our colleges, on our campuses, of professors filling people's heads with this nonsense. There was this professor was doing a speech, and I can't remember where it was, but this was last week I just read, and one of the other professors in the class called this professor out. It was a woman professor calling out this male professor speaker, and she said, you bring up the police an awful lot, and he goes, well, we need the police. The police help to bring order. She goes, well, I would never call the police. He goes, well, what are you going to do if somebody comes in your house? Who are you going to call if somebody comes in your house with a knife or a gun to rob you or harm you? I'm not going to call anybody.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, then sit at home.
Good.
So, just sit there and let them stab you to death or whatever the case may be.
Then we don't have to deal with your idiot ass, so that's cool.
But her remarks were really alarming because she kept saying, when she got to the end of it, she goes, the police are murderers. I'm afraid that they would murder me.
Nice.
And so now in going through this, all this stuff, since we've been talking about this, this last week or so has been almost like Facebook. When you talk about, like, I want to get a new car, and you mention, Cadillac, and it pops up on your screen all of a sudden. All this stuff's been popping up on my Facebook feed. And a white teacher got pulled over for being on her phone in, I think it was Florida. And she went on, the cop was Hispanic, and she went on and on, said, you're going to shoot me. Why'd you pull me over? He says, well, I pulled you over because you were on your phone. I want your supervisor. You're racist. You're Mexican. You'll never be white. It's like,
wow.
Holy Jesus, what is wrong with you people? We have become so derailed from reality. I mean, we have taken 100 steps backwards on race issues when it comes to black and white.
Yeah.
In the last 4 years. Because Democrats have pushed it. I'm sorry, Democrats out there, but you guys are pushing this. There's not any conservatives running around talking about race relations and saying that white people, there's no white privilege conversation, there's no race conversation unless you guys, Democrats and people, the far left, bring it up. But we have gone so far backwards we're almost back to the civil rights movement. And young black people are acting like they're drinking out of separate water fountains.
Right.
It's driving me insane.
Right. I mean, and unfortunately, we're not back to that era because black people were classy. You know what I mean? And so, and there's just, you can't approach it in the same way because there's not an actual problem. We can't organize and we can't do what we used to do. We have young people being weaponized with the fact that they're ignorant, with the fact that they didn't learn their history and things like that, that all these things have been done on purpose. And so now they've become this little militia for the elite to do their bidding. I mean, the elite aren't out in the street protesting crap. They have their minions to do that for them. And so, this is just where a lot of society is at. I personally, I can't be stressed about that and do what I do. So I laugh. I mean, I just laugh at these things. If people want to be idiots, if people want to do those things, they can do what they want. I just twist it and turn it, I make fun of it. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm not wearing a mask. So I go in the grocery store, I don't smile very much. Why? Because I look like an angry black woman. No one wants to come up to me and talk to me about my mask. And they don't know if I'm going to start hollering Black Lives Matter, I can't breathe, you're a racist. They have no idea what I'm about to say. And so right now I'm not very friendly looking in the stores because I want to be left alone. I'm not wearing a mask.
Well, I'm not wearing a mask in the stores anymore. And I'm not wearing a mask at work anymore. My work has said that I have to, but I'm a subcontractor. 400 days is enough for me, and your mask should protect you. I'm not having the discussion anymore. I'm not talking about it. I don't want to discuss it. I'm back to normal in my life, bottom line.
There you go.
If you wanna run around and wear masks, you go right ahead. But I have no interest in it. You go ahead and protect yourself. Wrap yourself in a fucking bubble. But don't expect me to do the same thing because it's not going to happen.
You've got your everything.
You got them all.
You should be fine.
You should be just fine. So there's something interesting I want to talk about this in regards to the race, and I got to pull this up here because it was sent to me. Let me find it here. When we talk about racism, and this is something that I'm really sick and tired of hearing people overlook. I'm sick and tired of people overlooking the facts. When I listen to people talk about race issues and just systemic racism, and systemic racism isn't even a real thing in this world at all anymore. But let's go through a few facts here. There were 20 by July or January through July of 2020. There were 2,240 shootings, 440 homicides from January through July. Almost every shooter and homicide were black, 97.7%. And this is just Chicago. But BLM and Chicago's Democratic politicians blame police and systemic racism. Explain, and we're going to go through these. Look at these things here.
There's 2.7%, man. That's everything, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely disturbing when you think about minority communities having to live within this violence.
Right.
But then you're going to project that BS out onto the rest of society, especially white people, and say that somehow this is my fault.
And spoiler alert, the racism thing, the narcissism thing, they both have to do with I'm not taking responsibility.
Right.
That's how you get. So if you have the young people that you flat out indoctrinate. But then you've got the older people that don't want to take responsibility for the state of their lives and how unhappy they are, whatever. And so they get sold on, oh, great, it's someone else's fault.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
And so now they're sold on it, and they're perfectly happy.
All those black people must be narcissists.
There you go.
It's always
There you
somebody
go.
else's
It's
fault.
always somebody else's fault. But this is why we can't solve that in the community, is because it's just so much better to blame someone else. So it just continues to get worse.
Well, let's go through this, because I was having a conversation with this young black kid 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. And he's going on that, there just aren't opportunities for black people in Chicago, and white people get all the privilege and they get all the good jobs. Let me hit you people with some facts. Here we go. The Chicago mayor is black. The superintendent of police is black. The Cook County State's attorney is black. The chief judge of Cook County Circuit Courts is black. The Illinois Attorney General is black. The Chicago Fire Department Commissioner is black. The Cook County Board President is black. The State Senate Majority Leader is black. The Illinois Lieutenant Governor is black. The Illinois Secretary of State is black. The Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County is black. The Chicago Treasurer is black. The Chicago Police Board President is black. The Chicago Transit Authority President is black. The CEO of Chicago Public Schools is black. The Commissioner of the Department of Water Management is black. 40% of the city council belong to the black caucus with an average pay of $122,000 a year. Okay, wrap your head around it. Their pension is for life and is 80% of their salary. Republican head count in the city council, 0. At the end of the fiscal 2019, the Chicago deficit was $838 million, or billion dollars. $838 million. Can someone please explain how white people in general are responsible for Chicago's horrendously dismal conditions? Anybody? Does anybody explain this? Because I just rattled off 18 positions. The top positions in the entire city of the third largest city in this country are all run by black people, but there's no opportunity. So the excuse is to go out, do drugs, sell drugs, be in gangs, and commit crimes, bust into stores, which they've been doing for weeks. Every couple of days they're up and down Michigan Avenue, but there's no opportunity for black people. According to this real data, facts, there's more opportunity for black people in the city of Chicago in high-level jobs over 6 figures than there are for white people.
According to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the problem with conservatives and Republicans is that they rely too heavily on facts and they ignore people's very real and important emotions.
You wouldn't want anything like facts. You don't want facts.
It's racist.
It's racist to be fact-based. It really is. It's terrible. I mean, I'm completely offended by how people who come to me with facts think they know what they're doing. I'll tell you what. Here, I wanna take a little break here. I want to play a song, and let me pull that up for a second, and we'll come back here. I want to continue talking this race thing. We're going to get to this narcissism thing, and we're going to get to some things that I need to talk about that relate to all of this. I've been away from doing this. I'm actually, one of the reasons I haven't done a lot of shows is, one, I'm back in Facebook jail.
Right.
Which I'll talk about as to why it's the stupidest reason in the history of reasons for me to be in Facebook jail. But that's how closely Facebook monitors everything I do. So I have to be very, very careful. And I thought I was being, but apparently I was wrong. And I'm in Facebook jail for 30 days. So we're going to come back and talk about that. And we're going to talk about more on the racism. We're going to get into in a little while here on the narcissism. One of the things that I'm working on is I start recording the demos for this new record I'm doing this year. So
Yay.
I've been focusing on a lot of writing,
Exciting.
kind of laying low a little bit, working on new stuff for a show. I got a big show next Thursday coming up with the I can't pronounce his last name, Dave. Dave, the singer from High Infidelity, from Hi-Fi. Guy's amazing. His videos are amazing. He also did a really amazing video, which I did not know he has Parkinson's.
Wow.
So he has struggles related to that. And he did this whole video talking about how he doesn't want his fans to think that he's drunk on stage, So this is going to be a really great interview where he's going to sing some songs. He's just so talented.
Awesome.
It's ridiculous. And I'm looking forward to that next week. So we'll come back and talk about that. But for now, we're going to play. Excuse me, I just burped. I just burped in the microphone. We're going to play a little Ashley Victoria. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes here, live on the DAG show with DAG, this guy, and Dr. Felicity, this beautiful woman. All right. You want to hit where it says preview to live? Just tap on that, and I'll get the song fired up. There we go.
You know what I go around, there's a check engine light on the dashboard of my car. I might be pretty, but I ain't from the city, just a country girl driving far. But I ain't worried 'cause I ain't in a hurry, I ain't scared to get country dirty. Got my tools in the back and a bottle of Jack, gotta get this truck fixed fast. Gasoline and whiskey, that's just the thing I need. The minute it starts pouring, you'll watch me drive away, and I'll make you miss me. Yeah, you'll miss me. With gasoline and whiskey. Just like look, I have this worn out truck. I ain't looking for sympathy, 'cause I know how to fix it and I ain't gonna risk it. I don't need no man to rescue me. So I pull up to the side and take a look inside, and you won't believe what I saw. Broken bells, missing hose, and I think I threw the rod. Gasoline and whiskey, that's just the thing I need. The minute it starts pouring, you'll watch me drive away, and I'll make you miss me. Yeah, you'll miss me. With gasoline and whiskey. I don't need no one to have my back. Yeah, that's a fact. You might call me crazy, but that's alright with me. And I know, yeah, I know, yeah, I know. Gasoline and whiskey, that's just the thing I need. The minute it starts pouring, you'll watch me drive away, and I'll make you miss me. Yeah, you'll miss me. With gasoline and whiskey, that's just the thing I need. The minute it starts pouring, you'll watch me drive away, and I'll make you miss me. Yeah, you'll miss me. With gasoline and whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Gasoline and whiskey. God. Did you turn your mic back on?
Yeah.
Oh. Are you on? Oh,
Yeah.
you're there? Oh, okay. Well, let's put us in the frame.
Okay.
All right. There we are. Here, we can do it like that and then move that over there. And see if we can take the big DAG show thing out of there because we got the little DAG show thing down there. So, as usual, forget to shut the stupid thing off. Anyway, that's Ashley Victoria, Gasoline and Whiskey, great Chicago artist, formerly of the Hillbilly Rockstars, and doing her own thing now. So we got to say hello to some people here because, hello, Karen. How are you? Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Tony Martino, Thomas Merritt. By the way, Thomas Merritt said, great show this morning.
Thank you, Thomas. Thanks for
Rick
watching.
Geary is here. Jennifer Nanetti. Helen is here. Bob Bailey. Hey, Bob. Junior Brown. John Walshik. If I pronounce that right. Chris Salazar. These are the ones that I can see here. Jeff Enlow is watching.
I'm sure they're getting tired of the racism thing too. There
Well,
must be some comments about that.
You know, people are tired of having to I know as a white person, I'm tired of having to defend myself about this stupid nonsense. At the end of the day, all right, great. If I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't believe under any circumstances that people are racist. And this is where we talked about this and said, let's do the show on ists and isms, because they tie together. The idea of the word racist and racism these days, and the term narcissist and narcissism, they have no meaning anymore because they're so overused and they've become so vague. So like the term racist, listen, if you're out there and you have this notion and this idea that you like the idea of lynching a black person, it's a terribly racist idea. But that applies in that case. If you're denying a black person a home simply based on the color of their skin, yeah, that's a racist move.
And listen, some other things. There are some really screwed up things happening in this administration. The fact that that Joe Biden would go ahead and say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And he hasn't done not one single thing for the black community, where Trump had opportunity zones, et cetera, et cetera. And like during the Obama administration, many people who voted for him comforted themselves like, oh, Obama would do something for us, but you can't, because this is America and you can't do things for specialized groups. And here Joe Biden goes, first day, does stuff for transgender. Then a couple weeks ago, they pass with 97% of people agreeing, which you cannot get that Congress to agree on anything, much less 97%. They passed the Asian Pacific Islander anti-hate bill, which, come on, what is happening to Asian Pacific? These people put their heads down and work and make all this money. They're not. This is a bunch of crap. You might have a few people on college campuses whining, but you don't get Asian Pacific people. This is not a thing. And they pass, and there's nothing in there for anybody else. It is specifically for them. So there is some serious, black people are being used by this administration in a very real way.
Correct.
That whole thing, Black Lives Matter is even pissed at them because they're like, we were your, arms and you are, they used you. You're so stupid. You bent over and now the leader has 5 homes in California and she's like, whatever. So, it's black people are being used, that is a real thing, but it's not coming from where people say it's coming from. It's not the issues, and we still have a lot of issues in our own community.
Well, I think the Black Lives Matter used black people in the worst possible way they could. Like you mentioned, the CEO of the company, of that organization, she has 4 or 5 big homes, not like townhouses. Big homes. I read something that she's worth, $40 million now.
Yep.
So
what a socialist. What a Marxist.
And at the end of the day, when you go to the Black Lives Matter webpage, all the money goes to a super PAC, and there's a video from the people who run the Chicago. There's 2 or 3 videos from the 2 women who run the Chicago chapter of Black Lives Matter. And you watch it, and they talk about, in Dixmoor or Harvey or something, they put out a box with some non-perishable foods.
Wow.
Whoa, that's what you're doing with all the money?
Really? And $40 million worth, really?
And the whole video, if you go to the website, it's so offensive to watch this and listen to these 2 women justify a couple of cardboard boxes that they put out, and then they don't even commit to what they're putting out, how much they're putting out, or when they're replenishing it. In fact, when asked, they stumble over the answer as to when and how they replenish it.
Yeah,
so you put out
did it once.
You put out a Home Depot cardboard box with some macaroni and cheese in it on the corner of 147th and Harvey and Martin Luther King, and there you go, Black Lives Matter. You're really kicking some butt out there.
Wow.
So it was,
sad. And and a lot of black people are so cynical that when they heard about what the Patricia whatever lady did and buying all those homes with their money, they're like, well, you go, girl, you got to get yours and all that. It's like, wow, like you are, you deserve that to happen to you if you're that stupid. Like, that's just, you gave them your money, so whatever. But one thing I want to make sure that I say, I really like to appease any white guilt, and that's why I talk the way I do, because like, you have good people legitimately questioning themselves, wondering if they're okay.
That is true.
Do not be wondering if you are okay. You are okay. These people are insane. Like, the world is what you thought it was. Like, yes, people are actually going insane. Just because the numbers seem great, or because their voice is loud, because they have the media to do their megaphone for them, does not make them any more correct. It does not mean there aren't people in the world that still have brains. Like, you're okay. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's important. It's just important that people have someone to say that to them, because, like, people just need their minds at ease.
That's an important thing you just touched on, and on behalf of being white, thank you. Because there is this thing. Sometimes you start reading, and when you start reading a lot, you start going, man, am I doing something wrong? Could I do more? Am I a racist jerk, or whatever the case may be? I was talking about before, there's clearly things that people do that are inherently racist. But to stop with the racist term, let's just call these people what they are. You're an asshole.
There you go. That's our new term.
That's our new term. You're just an asshole.
Easy.
You can't just keep saying that everything I say or do, calling out facts that might be a conversation about minorities in the black community, and I state facts on it. That doesn't make me a racist. Facts cannot be racist. Number one, if you're a white person and you want to go out and hurt anybody, you're just an asshole.
That's what it is.
Period. We don't even need the term racist anymore. It's unnecessary.
We don't. And so let me speak to that, because I have come out many times and said I have never experienced racism that I've known. Listen, my parents grew up in Jim Crow. I've heard the stories. Like, I've, seen the stuff. I did not grow up in it. That was racism. My mom, when she first graduated from college and moved to Harvey, actually, having to go through the phone book and make phone calls to get a job as a teacher, because you could do that back then, mm-hmm. You know what I mean, and get interviews and stuff like that. But she had to do that in most cases because she kind of sounds white. We have the same voice, and she was able to get the interview that way, right? And
interesting.
That's a real thing. That's real racism, and that was a real thing. She had gone in before and wasn't getting interviews, so she started making phone calls, and it worked better, and she got plenty of interviews. And then the laws had changed around that time, where schools and stuff, they would get in trouble if they didn't hire you because she had the credentials and everything like that. So there were laws to protect black people from that. That is real racism, okay? And so I can safely say I've never experienced racism because I don't know of any situations like that. Have I had random white people be mean to me? Yes. Could it be they're always like that? I have no idea. I'm not going to call that racism. I have no idea what that is. They could have been that way to the last 10 people that walked into the grocery store. I do not call that racism. I do not call being in college and a white person never really having a black friend asking me if they can touch my hair. That is not racism. It is not a microaggression. That is such bull crap. Stop with that stuff. That is all your high-minded, ridiculous college stuff they're feeding you. It is a white person who has never known a black person wants to touch your damn hair. And if you don't want them to, you say no. This is all stupid. It's ridiculous, okay? So, and let me tell you what's worse about this whole thing, and this is why it has to do with a personal problem that people have. This has nothing to do with racism. I just told you what my mom has had to go through. My mom has been through sit-ins. My dad has had to drink from the water fountain, the colored water fountain, blah, 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 blah. But because they have internalized and kept bitterness from that era, and they have not forgiven what happened to Dr. Martin Luther King, and they've internalized some bitterness. It twists your brain, because my mom has actually said, well, you have experienced racism, you just won't admit it. No, ma'am. I am 48 damn years old. You are not telling me. I've been here every day of it. You've been here for a lot of them, but you haven't been here for every day of it. I will tell you if I have experienced racism. You're not telling me. Do you see what I'm saying? That's ridiculous stuff.
Michelle Obama, she still hangs her hat on this thing where a white person cut in front of her while she was getting ice cream, and that was
Michelle
racism.
Obama says that black people are scared to get their driver's license. She has become unhinged, ladies and gentlemen.
She's off her wheels.
We do not listen to you anymore. Give back your Princeton degree, because no, we don't give it to people like you. She's insane. She's unhinged.
Well, in order for people like her, well, listen, let's talk about the Save It My show. You have to come up, in order to stay relevant, you have to come up with, you change your agenda. Well, the easiest thing to do is get on somebody else's train. And so what she's done is she's got on this train, and she always talks. The only thing racism that she has two Ivy League school degrees, a black woman. 2 degrees from Ivy League schools, okay? I don't know any white people who can afford to go to a Ivy League school or got in. Well, maybe I know a couple, but through my whole life, through 50 years. This woman has 2 degrees from 2 Ivy League schools. And her story that she constantly tells in her speeches, and she gets paid $200,000 to speak. Poor black woman. It's just terrible that a white person cut in front of you at an ice cream store, and that is your story about your experience with racism. The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Unreal.
But when you say things like that to young black people, and young black people have had the story, or they've listened to their grandpa about the colored water fountain, or sitting on the back of the bus, those are horrible things. That shit don't happen anymore.
Nope.
You can sit wherever you want and drink out of any water fountain. Guess what? I could care less. But that doesn't happen anymore. It's never been a better time in the history of the United States to be black.
That's right.
Period.
Or anywhere. If black Americans were a nation, we would be the richest black people in all the world.
Well, I just read off that list. Every high-powered job in the 3rd largest city in this country is controlled by a black person.
I mean, just them alone.
Just them alone.
Probably richer than any country in Africa.
Yeah, and it's really disturbing to listen to grown people and people in power using this race-baiting bullshit to try and convince the black people that it forces them to stay down. Because when you get angry, see how we're starting to lead into narcissism?
There you go.
When you get angry, it draws energy from you. It takes your energy, and that anger starts to overcome your rational thought and common sense. So when you race bait people that way, and you're a powerful person like Michelle Obama, or even Ilhan Omar, or AOC, or whatever, you are baiting them. You are literally pushing them down, going, see, look, you're nothing. Because I just literally, without saying it, said it. I blamed the white people, because you're nothing. You're literally freaking saying that to people.
Yeah.
When people in power should be standing up, go be what you want to be. Go be like those 16 people I just mentioned that run the city of Chicago, from the mayor. All the top jobs are held by blacks. So why aren't these black politicians walking through these communities, and these black people who control the highest offices in the 3rd largest city in the country, why are they not going out and inspiring young black people in black neighborhoods, in terrible? You've been to fucking Dixmoor lately? Place is a shithole. Every place is like freaking boarded up. It's terrible.
They're narcissists.
It's because they're all narcissists.
But there is, to be honest, though, first of all, they have to do that stuff to stay in their club in these days. But that also comes from a lack mentality. there's not enough jobs. There's not enough room for me. I have to protect my little thing. And I don't want to, inspire an army of people. They might take my little position. So they're bound in from both sides. Because if you're a Democrat, you have to toe that line. You have to say all the things. You know what I mean? There is no diversity of thought amongst Democrats. And then, on the other hand, they could be afraid of losing their little spot too. So it's complete selfishness. I mean, actually, I was joking when I said they're narcissists, but I'm not so sure that it's really a joke.
Well, and we're gonna get to the narcissist conversation because that's a very important one, and how it ties, how the language that is being used when we're talking about racists or racism, and how we talk about narcissists and narcissism. And I got some really great information on narcissism.
Yes, you
some
do.
Big surprises here for you guys. And when how overusing those words. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought. How overusing these words have made everything that they're supposed to represent vague.
Yeah.
And when things are vague, you can't enforce the idea. You can't manipulate. You can't treat the problem. So in the 50s and 60s, during the Civil Rights Movement, there were clear definitions of what racism was. You could see them. It was tangible. I mean, a separate water fountain for a black person is it tangible?
Me, it's so dishonorable to what people actually went through. You know what I mean? And to see people who actually went through it kind of begin to deny that it's anything has changed. It's just so dishonorable to the real, power of the movement and the power of what happened during that time.
Well, there's, in what I do for a living, I interact with 90% of the people I interact with are black, black or Hispanic. They're minorities. And when I interact and have conversations with people that are with a black man or a black woman in their 40s, 50s, 60s, the conversations are wonderful. They're just normal people talking. When you talk to young people, you can sense the bitterness. You can sense the thoughts that have been put in their head. They don't respond well. They don't communicate well. I'm going to say 8 out of 10 black men who get in my car are using a woman's. They don't even have their own debit card, so they're using their girlfriend's debit card. So when they get in my car, it says Shaniqua. And here it is. Here's a 6'4", 18-year-old boy. So you can sense this whole idea that's been perpetrated on them, and how they've been indoctrinated to hate. The older people are like, yeah, we lived through some shit, man. We get it, and we chose to rise above this. The young people haven't lived through anything like that. Nothing. If you're 35, you don't know anything, not even close. So to the shit that we saw growing up. That's an interesting dichotomy that I see amongst the minority population. And it's really going back to this thing with the debit card. It's really disturbing to see so many young black men that aren't fending for themselves at all.
Yeah.
They have a chip on their shoulder, and here you are, you're 17, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, and you're using your girlfriend's debit card to get a ride to Walmart.
This is a whole other topic, but I just want to tell you, we're spending the whole month at Black Conservative Female talking about the boy crisis, because there really is a crisis.
There's a terrible crisis there.
There's a crisis among men. And actually, statistically, we had the author of The Boy Crisis on last night. We're looking at it from different angles, but he told us the statistics on black homeless people. It's something like 99.3% of them are men. And I tried to think of a black homeless woman. I don't know that it was hard for me to even think of an image of a black homeless woman that I've seen. They're all men when they're black. I mean, they're all men when they're black. It's so we're really, they're suffering in the
a lot of mental
school.
health issues there too.
They're suffering in school. the suicide rates for men, the only time that the suicide rates match for men and women are between the ages of 10 and 14. Younger than that, it's mostly men. When it gets older, it's into the 1,000% more. White men are taking their lives, older men, like boom, 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 boom. They have nothing to live for. And get this is so powerful. He talked about just the power of, most every generation has had a war. And when you would see that Uncle Sam sign that said, I want you, we want you, it's such a powerful thing for a man to hear that at 18 a man is willing to give up his life because someone said they want them. And that's what we as a society, we are now saying to men actively, we don't want you. And it is having an effect on them at every single age. So, talk about feminism and feminists, like that's been a whole disaster as well.
Oh.
And talk about some assholes.
We should have, if there were 3 of us on this show, we could have done feminism, racism, and narcissism all in one show. So, but that is definitely a topic that I'd love to touch on one of these days here as well.
Yeah,
because that's a complete
we'll get
disaster.
back to that. It is.
We're gonna take a little break here. I'm gonna play a new song by Seventh Heaven, great Chicago band. It's called "Are We There Yet?" And Dr. Felicity and myself, DAG, will be right back here. On guess what? You want to hit that button, the DAG show.
Go.
Oh shit!
Did it
didn't
work?
No,
I don't think I did it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
We got it up there, but see, I didn't get the screen going right. There we go. We'll be right back here.
Take these photographs, put them in your past, and I'll be alright. It's been a hell of a night. Take it logically, it was never what it seemed. How we hold tight, it's time to turn off the light. I know I've been patiently waiting by the phone, but from where I stand, I'm thinking I'd be better off alone. We scream like hell at the top of our lungs, with a million hearts could bleed this love and sing all of the way. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? One by one, screaming Godspeed, son, with the scars you show and the heart you love. So obviously, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there? Falling in between the circle and your scheme, and I'll be you light. You get darker at night. Why can't you believe? Oh, I can't see it. I will never get it right. I see the ending in sight. I'm a little hazy, maybe tell me why I left alone. To remind me lately, this is all we really ever known. We scream like hell at the top of our lungs, with a million hearts could bleed this love and say it all of the way. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? One by one, screaming Godspeed, son, with the scars you show and the heart you love. So obviously, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there? I guess that some things never change. I guess it's not for me to say. Maybe we could be silent heroes. Maybe we just need to start from zero. Sunlight seems further than the rain. Some hearts just think they'll never break. You're not fading. I'm still breaking.
My laptop is completely jammed up. So I'm sorry about that, and it just put up a notification about it being jammed up. So let's just finish out the song.
Okay.
We'll be quiet. Seventh Heaven, man. Are we there yet? Great band. I love Richie and the boys. You guys are doing an awesome job. Love the new tune. And new drummer's awesome, and it's great. And
it is a good song.
Very exciting stuff here. And we're gonna play a couple more songs here throughout the show. And
yes, one of my friends.
One of your friends, Savannah from Florida, young lady who's
actually South Carolina.
Or South Carolina. Okay, that's twice we got that wrong. I said Chicago, then you said Florida. And she's actually from South Carolina. We don't know where she's from. We have no idea. But she's very talented. Anywho, so, Rick Geary just put something up here. He goes, I'm 65. I was alive, saw my heroes gun down Martin Luther King, JFK, RFK. He breathed it. And, really, when you think about this and you think about the couple of generations that's come since the Civil Rights Movement, they've never seen anything like that.
Right.
They've never experienced anything like it. And in fact, quite frankly, they're not reading about it in colleges the way that it was taught to us.
Nope.
All they hear and know is, the Kardashians and what's pumped into them about what it was or how terrible it was. But they don't have any experiences that they can say that they've lived through. I mean, granted, I'm not trying to say that there's not black people who can't get an apartment because that it hasn't happened. That's not at all what I'm saying. But to live through the Civil Rights Movement and see these people gunned down out of hate, to see lynchings and see them reported in a newspaper, to see it and have been a part of that while it was happening is very, very different.
And listen, it really goes to some of the things I talk about as a life coach, which is vision. And that's important for your life, but it's important as a community as well. And part of the reason that race relations did improve is why? Because Martin Luther King had a dream and a vision that he was able to paint in front of people and able to get us to imagine a different kind of world than what we were living in. And so that is how you get yourself out of a situation. You begin to dream and imagine a different kind of world that you can be living in. And so now the dream and the vision that people are being given is very dark, right? And so and interestingly, when we were going to play this song by Savannah Craven, she actually left Columbia University in New York because of the dream and the vision that they were painting in her mind. She had this dream of, being in New York, and she was going to audition and be a part of this whole deal. But she realized that the whole culture right now is so dark, and they want to paint this vision of hate in front of you and darkness.
They're painting the future. They're making the future seem dark when the future is fantastic for everybody. If you want to achieve, again, the opportunities are here in the United States, regardless of the color of your skin. Listen, there's Asian people, there's Somalis that come here. I don't know. I pick up a lot of truck drivers, and take them. And there's a lot of immigrant truck drivers now in this country, and a lot of them are black and from Somalia. And you know what they all say? People who come from Africa or those regions that are black, they're like, we do not understand. They all love Trump. And they go, we do not understand why black people are so angry at white people. We don't get it.
Nope.
And even in those countries they've never experienced, they come here and they go, we don't get it. We don't get why any black person, I had a guy literally tell me this. And they go, I'm black. And he was so black. I mean, he was black.
That's the fun thing, right?
And he's like, I've had no problems with racism. I have a great job. I came here with literally no money in my pocket. and I've built a life and a family here. I love this country.
Nigerians are the
Nigerians,
top
yeah.
3 income earners of all of all ethnic groups, of all immigrants. They are darker than any black person you have ever seen. All of them.
And yes, they're
It's
not
retarded.
out. They're not out breaking into Nike stores and stealing.
Hell no,
stealing
they don't
shoes.
need to. Half of them have PhDs. It's
So,
insane.
You know, that's a thing. I think it's terrible when politicians paint a very dismal picture of a future
But that's how
for
you bring
American
in
black
socialism.
people.
That's how you bring this crap in, is that you get people so sold on the darkness, and that the government has to, keep giving me money, keep stimmying me. I'm not going back to work because of all the pandemic unemployment and all that stuff. It's because of this dark future they're painting. They have a dream as well. And the dream is for them to be the elites, for them to stay at the top, and for them to oppress other people. That's what they're trying to do.
It's black America. I personally cannot stand the term African American. I'm Italian. I don't run around going, I'm Italian American. I mean, I get it how it started, but let's move on. Okay, we get it. We know where the black people came from. By now we get it. Let's just be proud to be Americans. And it's sad to see black Americans being boxed into a corner like this, because black Nigerians and black Somalis and whatever, they don't feel that.
Right.
They don't go out, and they're not out protesting and worried about how fast or how confident I walk when I walk in a mall or down the sidewalk. It's completely preposterous. But we are indoctrinating our youth to think these horrible things, and nothing annoys me more than watching 3 young white girls talk about the plight of black people that
gosh.
are 22 years old. It's like, shut up. You have no clue. I just told like I just said, if you're under 35, you have no clue. If you're under 40, you have no clue what shit was like then. You have no idea. So shut your stupid face hole, because you sound ridiculous. And Candace Owens did this in 2019 when she was in that congressional hearing and called out those 3 white women going, what do you know? You know what I know? I've been black my whole life. I know about being black. You don't know anything, so stop talking like you're defending me. It's almost like the mask thing. Don't worry, you're protected. Don't worry about me. You don't need to protect me.
Right.
So that whole thing is just really, really frustrating. And, we need Morgan Freeman said it best in an interview. He said, when asked, how do we stop racism? He said, stop talking about it.
Yep.
Just stop talking about it. And that's part of the show, because I want to get to a point of stop talking about something that's going on in my life, and this is where the narcissism part comes in. So we're going to get rid of the word racism. We're not going to listen to it anymore. I'm not going to listen to it. I can't take it anymore. It's wrong. I just be good to me. I don't really care what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter to me. And I think a majority of all white people feel the exact same way. They go, just be nice to me. I'm nice to you. You be nice to me. We're friends. It's not an issue of, well, that's, I'm going to be only so nice to you because you're black. People just aren't wired that way. The majority of people, they're not. They just don't care. So I want to see, we need to stop hanging on these words, because the word racist and racism has no value anymore. It has none. It has none. Not to me, and not to you.
As soon as I was called a white supremacist, I was done with the whole thing. I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. Like, you don't want to use your brain. Like, I don't talk to people who don't listen to themselves. If you're going to say such ridiculous things, you are clearly not listening to yourself, and I can't talk to people like that. So I just remove myself from the conversation. I'm not in that. That is the only thing that was to me is an honor, because Candace Owens was the only one I had heard be called a white supremacist. And so I got put in that rank. So I was like, okay, good, I've arrived. But listen, I'm out of it. Like, if you're going to be that stupid.
Right. I don't even want to have the conversation.
We're done.
Well, and this brings us, let's do a little segue here into narcissism. And I want to preface this here to my friends, fans, and followers, and people who've been paying attention to me. For 6.5 years, I've been doing this show, and I used to host radio in Chicago on 92.7, and I've always been honest. I've always been honest about my life. I've shared the deepest, darkest secrets of my life on my show and publicly. I've talked about struggle, my family. I've talked about struggles with alcohol. I've talked about struggles with all kinds of things, and I've talked about positive things. I've always made an exceptional effort to bring people facts and be truthful. Not just to come on here with opinions, but to have those opinions that I have backed up by some type of data or facts. So, one, I don't want to look stupid. Now, do I get it right all the time? Absolutely not. I am far from a perfect human being. I make mistakes, and sometimes the things that I'm trying to go out, the problems I'm trying to solve, I screw them up. And you gotta step back and go, damn it, I did that wrong. So now I need to step back into this and try and get this right. I'm known. I have friends I've had for 50 years, literally, that I am known for being that guy, for being a stand-up guy and owning my shit. If I'm right, great. Pat me on the back and tell me I'm right. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong and give me a chance to fix it. But don't hold judgment on me forever because I was wrong. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to try. I've always been that person. So this brings me to this thing with narcissism. If you follow the show, you know that for the last 7 months I've been dealing with this absolute nightmare of a past relationship, and it just progressively gets worse. It's like this person just won't let it go. And it's one thing after another. It's one post. And I know my friends, fans, and followers are looking after me, and they share things with me, but it's like it gets quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden, here come the posts from this person's page. I'm getting screenshots and this and that. And they all know who these terrible things that this person is accusing me of or saying about me is directed at me. That's why they get sent to me. The delusion that this individual has and she clearly forgets, is that 3/4 of all her fans on her page derived from my show. Nobody heard of this person until me. I brought her on the DAG show, and we started dating. Anywho, so there's a lot of posts going up about me being a narcissist. And I've always hated that term. It annoys me because I looked into it a long time ago. I read a book on it, freaking 2 decades ago. And there was a point in time in doing some homework where the term narcissist and narcissism had value, much like racist and racism. But things have changed because as we go through some of this, and I think I have to do it on, let's see, which phone did I send it to? The term is so overused, and it's been so, everything's become vague. Now you're a narcissist constantly about everything. Everything you do, technically, here it is. Every human being on earth is a narcissist now, and I'm going to explain why and why this aggravates me, because this is what we've done with the issue of racism. The same thing. As long as you keep saying it, sooner or later you're just saying it about everything, and now everything is racist.
Anyone who disagrees with you.
Yeah. So now just like saying, hey, now we're on a point that I walk too confidently on a sidewalk, so I'm a racist. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is.
And to the girlfriend who no longer loves you, you're a narcissist. It's like whatever.
Well, is
anyone who doesn't agree with you.
This is the thing that bothers me the most. You know what you don't hear men doing? Running out calling women. You don't see men posting, my ex is a narcissist. It's always women. And I'm not saying that there aren't character traits, and we're gonna go through them, because the NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder, when this whole term was coined, there was some value to it. There were 9 character traits initially that went along what are they called? Hold on.
Oh, right.
Is it the
psychiatric?
Yeah.
Oh, the DSM.
The DSM-5.
Diagnostic. I don't remember.
Here, I've actually got it here.
It's their diagnostic tool that they use to, diagnose people and give them a.
Yeah,
category.
you got to get your mic.
Sorry about that.
Yes, it's the tool. The DSM-5 is the tool. Are the tools that psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors. They're the books that the medical field puts together in diagnosing people with various mental disorders. That's a DSM-5, and the American Psychiatric Association refers to those books just like you would, a doctor or a surgeon would refer to a specific medical book on a certain medical condition. Same thing. So the DSM-5, here's something interesting, and I want to go through this real quick here because you can't just keep throwing out the terms that somebody's a narcissist because you're basically just telling somebody they have a mental health problem. And, I'm not saying that people in those situations, that in some cases they might not, that they're not right, but it's overused. It's overused. And I'm sorry, ladies, it's overused by you. You all do it. I mean, I see these posts all the time. Your ex is a narcissist. Your ex is a narcissist. Your ex-husband's a narcissist. Your boyfriend's a narcissist. Your father's a narcissist. Everybody's a freaking narcissist
And
when you get pissed at them.
Before you go through this, let me say this. The same thing with racism. It is dishonoring to people who have actually had to deal with this stuff. Okay? And two things about that. Number one, he's about to read these character traits. I both married a person that is clinically this, A, and B, around the same time, I worked for a woman who is clinically all of these things. Incredibly unpleasant experiences. But I want to tell you this. I healed from these circumstances and situations by looking at my part of it. How did I attract those people to me? So I did not gain any type of mental health by constantly focusing on all of their problems and how they did all this stuff to me. I focused on how I attracted that twice into my life at the same time. That's a me problem. That is not a them problem. But anyway, the fact that people are now misusing this term and using it for anyone that they disagree with and makes them angry is dishonoring to the people that actually have had to deal with this stuff. Same thing as racism. So anyway.
So to touch on this too, we have to understand that we as people we can have I can say something to you and bring out the worst in you.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't make me or you a narcissist. I just pissed you off.
Yes.
And then we have an obligation as friends and people who care about one another to work through it and fix it.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is why terms like narcissism, the DSM-5 in 2010 was going to remove the term narcissism from all of the medical books. All of them. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It's amazing.
They were going to remove it because it's become so vague that it applies to literally every human being on earth. And I'm going to go through this with you. The reason they didn't, because the pharmaceutical lobby had more power to convince them to keep it in there, because what do you do with people with supposed mental disorders? You medicate them. And unlike, saying, well, I have cancer or I, have this ailment, once you heal from those problems, there's no need necessarily for anything, but the medication always keeps flowing. The doctor doesn't need you anymore. Gets paid, he's done, it's it. You might check in with him every year or two. But the pharmaceutical industry needs that money flowing. So the pharmaceutical industry said, well, if you take this out of the DSM-5, this is going to cost us $1 billion a year. And then they played at this whole idea that, it's going to cost jobs and you're going to hurt people and families and blah, blah, blah. So you have to take a lot of things we're told and led to believe with a grain of salt sometimes, and you need to dig deep to find out if it really has any value. So let me get this pulled back up because now it went away again. Hang on. Come on. What's going on here? Did this thing switch off my Wi-Fi? Oh, it did switch off my Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Why did it do
and
that?
something my coach says is that everyone is a narcissist to someone. And that's true, because that's the thing about how you can bring up bad things in other people.
Let's talk about the 9, and we're gonna strongly. I'm gonna really go after this, and I hope you guys follow along and listen to me. The 9 official criteria for NPD, National or Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Grandiose sense of self-importance. We're going to touch on these and talk about them. Well, here, let me read them. Preoccupations with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Believe they're special and unique and only can be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. Need for excessive admiration. Sense of entitlement. Interpersonally exploitive behavior. Lack of empathy. Envy of others or a belief that others are envious of them. Demonstration of arrogant and haughty behaviors and attitudes. That one I can't wait to talk about because the term haughty is very funny. So let's talk about them. Let's take these one at a time. So, grandiose sense of self-importance. If you're running around believing that you're super important and you're not, and you're rude to people in the store, that's a grandiose sense of self-importance. That's what somebody who has that does. They believe that they're rude to other people, and they're, and they're not kind, and they that's what that means.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah. Now, I say that, but I say it jokingly.
They don't.
But they don't. They're serious. They believe in their mind, I'll use this. John Wayne Gacy used to always say that he was connected, to the mob, and he would yell at his staff and so on, etc. And he would threaten them that he could hurt them and this and that. And I saw this in a movie. That is a grandiose sense of self-importance. That's somebody who really, if you really believe that you have the ability to get that shit done, you might be self-important. Now, you can't just do it on one topic. You got to really have that sense of self-importance in every aspect of your life, not just one thing. So if you have a grandiose sense of self-importance because you know a guy who's who can do something really well that you need to have done, doesn't make you a freaking narcissist because you have the confidence to be able to do this.
Right.
So you have to be careful how you look at this. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, and brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Listen, all of us want love in our life. We all want to be important. We all, have ideas. We all want to be successful. That's why more people migrate to this country than anywhere in the world. Because why? They want to be successful and they want to be important. They want to achieve.
I think that this is where, in your particular situation, we run into the problem, because anytime someone has more confidence than you, then they can be a narcissist, right? And if you're nervous about your future, like if you're really insecure and you don't really believe that good things are going to happen to you, you're nervous about that. And then you're with somebody that's very confident and believes good things is going to happen in their future, believe that you're actually on the right path to work toward that. That can be read as narcissist according to what you just read.
Yes. So you see where it starts to get vague, people, is now all of a sudden one little sentence has 9 different definitions, and it's not explained. When you can get a degree to become a counselor, a therapist, a psychologist through a correspondence class, all of a sudden, to me, and that field is growing rapidly because the money's very good in it. The whole thing starts to lose a little credibility for me. It becomes too easy. The next thing is, so to touch on that, people want to be smart. I want to be brilliant. I read a lot because I like being smart. I want to achieve. I need achievement. I need people to recognize my show if I want to grow my show and be able to make more money doing it. I'm proud of those accomplishments. I'm proud that people are starting to pay me to shoot videos of bands and things like that. I should be proud of that. I worked hard to get there. And I would like it to grow and be bigger. And I want to find love, a great relationship. I want to look good. If now I'm concerned that, there's a reason I dress the way I do. I don't want to go outside looking like an asshole. Does that make me a narcissist? I don't want to wear sweatpants to the grocery store. It's not how I roll. I'm not a narcissist because of it. Believe they are special and unique and only can be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. That one is the stupidest one of them all. Because when I was making lots and lots and lots of money, automatically, not by design, just because of the business I was in and the success I was achieving, the people I was hanging around changed.
Right.
The people I was doing business with had a lot of money. We went to nicer restaurants. we just and your audience and the people you hang around change.
Right.
And it's not that you don't see your old friends, but to be honest with you, when your life changes, you're making $300,000 a year and your friend's making 40 that you grew up with, and you've been doing it for a long period of time, sometimes you and your friend run out of things to talk about because everything that's on your mind is up here in the $300,000 range. The last thing you want to think about when you achieve that success is being poor again. So
right.
You know, and it's not that you don't care about your friends, it's just that your audience changes. And so as they continually, would talk about this as psychologists, and this is stuff I've read over the last couple of months, from the side of taking this narcissistic term off the books, was because rational people in the field went, this is just so broad that it doesn't make any sense anymore. It needs to be refined or redefined, and there has to be an explanation along with these things that let people know that you can be each one of these things, but you're not necessarily a narcissist.
Right.
You follow me?
And let me tell you, so the refinement is when you use these things to hurt people.
Right.
And that's
exactly.
Listen, it takes a special twisted person to be able to be this and actually find a way to hurt you with it. But I'm telling you, there are people that do.
That's the best explanation I've heard yet. Because yes, I've never used, and yes, sometimes depending on where I'm at, I am important, and people want to talk to me. There's nothing I can do about it. And I need to feel good about myself to do this as often as I've done this and for as long as I've done it, because this is not an easy job.
Yeah. No, it's literally like, listen,
but
you don't deserve to be with me because look at you. Like, look at how you're dressed right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where I have a whole day with the kids. He's out there doing this
That's
stuff.
narcissism.
And then he's like, I can't take you anywhere looking like that. Like, look at you. Like, you do not deserve to be with me.
When you use these definitions exactly to purposefully hurt somebody with these types of attitudes, you're an asshole.
And they didn't add that, and that's really important.
Well, they don't. And everything you read, and like this video that got sent to me that was on what's her name's page, I'm watching this video and this woman is just playing to this victimization bullshit. You watch this video and you feel like a victim. I mean, literally, that's not helpful. That's not therapy or psychology. That's doing what we were talking about in race, painting a shitty picture. And then you get to run around and go, hey, I just watched this video by this person. Look, she's got a PhD. She must be right. Well, I've been to a lot of shitty doctors, man. Just because you got a PhD doesn't mean you got your shit together or you're any good at it. But anyway, let me go through this. Let me finish this. Need for excessive admiration. See, none of these things, one, have I ever used these things against anybody. Number two, in my private life, I could be assumed that I need attention. I do a show. Of course I need attention. That's what the fucking show is about. If I don't have, why would I do the show if nobody watched it? That would be a pointless exercise. Why would I write songs if nobody listens to them? Why would I play in a band if nobody came and saw me? That's what it's all about. Every musician is a narcissist now. Every single musician must be a narcissist because they need that attention. Of course, we all have egos. And from time to time, we want to be acknowledged. It's why you dress nice. You don't want people to come up to you and go, you look like shit. That's why you dress nice. You want to look nice. You want people to acknowledge you. You want people to notice you. There's a reason that, I always wore a TAG Heuer watch and I always wore $400 shoes in my business, because those are the two first things people notice about you and take it seriously when you're doing deals. So those were things you did. It wasn't because I was a narcissist. I was just playing the game. I didn't go home and go, my pen's better than yours. You see what I mean? It's just stupid.
Or here's how you hurt someone with it. You do not recognize who I am. You haven't told me. What have you said? How have you showed me that you appreciate me?
Well, hold that thought. Don't go there yet, because we're going to go there.
Well, that's the appreciation thing.
I know, but we're going to come back to this because I have to explain some of this again.
Okay.
Sense of entitlement. I have no sense of entitlement. I have worked my whole life and earned everything I have ever had on my own. I've never needed any. I'm not entitled to anything. I don't believe that. I have no delusions of grandeur that I'm entitled to anything. It's just not how I'm wired. Interpersonally, exploitive behavior. I don't even know what the fuck that means. So, my behavior's exploitive internally. I don't get it. What does that mean?
No, it means when you exploit other people. When you, like I explained to you, like the narcissists that I've known, they have very magnetic personalities. You like them a lot when you first meet them, and you can.
I must be a narcissist.
You can tell them things about how much you appreciate them and blah 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 at first, and so then what they do is they begin to use you for whatever they're needing to get done or whatever, and they don't pay you properly for it, or they kind of bait and switch, and then they say, well, you said I was all this, you said I was all that, and so they use your immediate attraction to them against you to keep you bonded to them, to keep doing stuff.
Well, that
super
sounds
sick.
awfully familiar. Lack of empathy. I'm to a fault. I'm empathetic and I'm sympathetic to a fault.
Yep.
In fact, it is one of my goals to be less sympathetic and empathetic because it winds up hurting me more than it helps me. I love charity. I will do anything for anybody. But sometimes I've taken it too far to the point of hurting myself or my family, and that's not fair to me.
No.
Envy of others or a belief that others are envious of them. Well, I know there's people I'm envious of. Of course, I'm envious of Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm envious of the fact that Joe Biden somehow became president, and I'm not worth $7 billion. That moron can get that. I got a little envy over that. But that's another thing. I don't need people to come to me and tell me that I'm special or I'm great or I'm good. I don't need it. I don't thrive on that. In fact, in all my career, 41 years in the music business, I met a lot of celebrities. You know what you will not find in my trunks of life? Are a zillion pictures of me with celebrities. Because I just don't care. I'm not that envious. I was envious when I met Rick Nielsen because I'm a huge fan, but not so much that I needed pictures and I'm losing my mind. And I didn't really care if he envied me for what I was doing. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to meet the guy and say hello.
You're using the term envious when it sounds like admiration. Envy is dark. Envy is where you really sit and contemplate like how life has been unfair to you, because it goes with the victim thing. It goes with the entitlement thing. It's a very dark emotion.
Well,
this is hateful.
This is something else we talked about. Listen, my life growing up wasn't easy, and I was talking to Linda about this, and she gets in her head and she goes, well, that's narcissistic. I go, wait a minute. Stating a fact cannot be diagnosed as a mental health problem. I'm not resentful for it. I have no resentment towards it. I use it as a teaching lesson for myself. It was hard for me then. I wouldn't want to see anybody go through that, or to see how that growing up in difficult situations sometimes skews your ability to make good decisions. You follow me? Mm-hmm. So when your environment has holes in it, when you're young, it can affect the decisions you make as you get older. So I talk about these things because, one, it's therapeutic, and two, it's a constant reminder of what I shouldn't do. So I hate when people take these words and then twist them around like this, and because they make it sound so black and white, so cut and dry, and it's not. Yeah, touching on that, and that was all about envy. That's where we were, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not a person who goes, oh, I want to be like him, or I need them to be like me. No, it comes across that way. I know sometimes on the show that maybe I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, but in my personal life, I'm a pretty laid-back, mellow dude. I don't want to be bothered. I don't need a lot of attention. I lived by myself for 7 years. I live by myself now. I'm completely content. I don't need a lot of adoration. I don't need a lot of admirers. I don't. I do need people to watch on the show. And this show, on doing this for as long as I've been in the music business, comes with a little tiny amount of celebrity, but that's just par for the course. It's not something I need. I enjoy the entertainment business. That's where my heart is. So I do it, and it has its upsides and it has its downsides. I appreciate both of them because both of them are teaching moments. There's always teaching moments in everything. The last one is demonstrations of arrogant and haughty behaviors or attitudes. Give me a fucking break. So that irritates me because arrogant is an obvious word. Haughty, we talked about this word the other day. So, when they say that, what is that they're trying to say about it?
I mean, haughty really is supposed to mean high-minded. It's I am better than you. That is exactly what haughty means. That's the only thing it means.
Well, see,
I am better than you.
I don't feel that way about anybody. Not literally. I mean,
know.
I say a lot of funny things, and a lot of things I say are for comedic value sometimes. But in my heart, I'm not that person. I
Right.
don't believe those things. I don't believe. In fact, I'm probably the most self-deprecating human I know. I pick on myself a lot. I insult myself, and I do it on the show all the time. But that's me personally. Again, one is entertainment, and one is my personal life. What's disturbing about this is how it gets reinterpreted, and then it's used, and it's just post after post after post, and the reference being thrown at me that I'm these things. I'm none of these things. None of them. Not on a personal level.
No.
The situation I was in, quite frankly, a lot of these things applied to that person, constantly needing to be validated, constantly needing attention, constantly needing to be told, that person was important to me. Being there and trying to work on things and it was never enough. Saying I love you, you look beautiful today. I'm that kind of person. I'm the kind of person that's going to acknowledge you. I'll never forget. There was one point when she said, I'm putting on some weight here. I go, you know what? I don't care. I love you. You look beautiful. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you look great. Do what you want. I'm not a person who ever told her how to dress, how to look, how to do her hair, what color to paint her nails. You want to paint your nails freaking lemon yellow. Paint them lemon yellow. You want to take 3 baths a day in that giant bathroom? Go take them. I don't care. Do what you want. But communicate with me so we can work as a team to accomplish certain goals. And so this other nonsense is the stuff when it's constantly being thrown at me, and I'm tired of seeing people constantly. And I have a very good friend who was with a narcissist, but every day with the narcissistic posts, men don't do this. I mean, men. Can you imagine if we got up every day and said, women are bitches, women are assholes, women are, and just every day.
Well, that's almost what got you kicked off of Facebook.
So, I mean, but that was just it was in a comment. I didn't call anybody a terrible name. Anyway,
no, I'm just saying that whole realm. That's why men even kind of can't do that now.
But imagine if we did. Imagine if men got up and were aggravated with their wives or their girlfriends or their past relationship and just started railing them constantly on freaking Facebook and constantly putting up derogatory posts that everybody knows who you're talking about. I see it all the time with women. I never see men doing this shit. I don't see men going, all women are bitches and this and that. You don't see it.
Right.
But it's just this constant dialogue about how shitty men are, and I'm sick of it.
The thing is that women and black people are taking the bait. The bait is to be a victim. Right. And
right.
They get to be a victim. They don't have to take responsibility for their lives. They don't have to take responsibility for their problems according to how society is being right now. And so, I mean, that's really the bottom line. And we can't let our lives be determined by the opinions of insane people.
Well, before we go to break here, this is why this is important. And I got put in Facebook jail because I said in the conversation, I go, I'm in the entertainment business, and with what I do, and I'm a freaking nobody. I'm a grain of sand in the world's largest beach as far as celebrity goes, right? So, but women, when they do that, you can really hurt people's careers. You're not just hurting their career. I mean, imagine if I did that. It was on, the shoe was on the other foot, and I was just constantly dogging and pushing and being mean and rotten. You know, through everything this woman put me through, I still love her. I'm not mad. I respect her decision to go in the direction she wants, you know, and I want her to be happy. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. I'm tired of it. But she won't stop. She won't leave me alone. It's just one thing after another, and it's to a point to where now I'm going to court. I got a court in June, and I'm going to have a trial in late August or early September. This is ridiculous. Just give me my shit back and my clothes, my furniture, and move on. Give me, you know, why are you keeping it? Why are my dishes in your cabinet? Put that shit back in the box. Give me my stuff back. If I'm such a terrible person, why are you hanging on to me like this? Why are you dragging me through the dirt? Just let it go, and it's over. It's over.
But you can't ask sane questions to insane people.
Yeah, listen, we're going to come right back here on the DAG show, and I'll tell you why I got what I said that got me put in Facebook jail again. So here, let's put this up here, and you're going to do the... Wait.
When are we doing Savannah?
We're going to play Savannah. The next break.
All right.
All right. Yeah, because I want to talk about Savannah.
Okay.
I want to spend a few minutes talking about it. We'll be right back here.
Everything electrical, paranoid, so skeptical. Lock
Death Pop Radio. I love them so much. They got signed. They broke the top Billboard 150.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting stuff for them. And great guys. Jim's a wonderful guy. Eric, DJ, everybody's awesome in that band. Love them all. And they're funny because they come off the stage. You see these guys just rocking, and they come off the stage and they're just real passive. But yeah, they're all local. They're all local bands here, except for Savannah, which we're going to play here shortly. This amazing, talented girl from North Carolina, not
South
Florida.
Carolina.
But I want to get back to this and this narcissism thing and this situation, and because there are some things I have to address here because it's clear. So I get thrown in Facebook jail because I was having a conversation and I said in this thread. I said, I'm in the entertainment business. Women can destroy careers. I'm going to bed. I got to be up in a few hours. Women are the devil. And within 2 seconds, I was in Facebook jail. And Facebook sent me a thing and said, that's hate speech. And think about all the things we read on Facebook every day that are 40 billion times worse than that.
Right.
But that's how closely Facebook watches me. And I've been very, very careful about not getting thrown in Facebook jail because for 2 years I spent 33% of the year of those 2 years in a row in Facebook jail for things I said politically. Anywho, back to the narcissism thing here. So you pulled something up. Where is it? What you just said, and I want to talk about. I want to address this because, people. This is such a great quote. You can tell a bully from a leader by how they treat people who disagree with them.
Miles Davis.
By Miles Davis. I'm not a bully by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like to fight with people. I don't like to argue. I'm not a yeller and a screamer and around the house. I like solutions to problems. I know I'm not perfect, and there's things I could do better. But what I don't like being is bullied. At some point, a bully's just going to back into a corner, and so. The stories that were told about me, which were all lies, I took a lie detector test and passed the lie detector test with flying colors, that I wasn't a cheater, that I wasn't in these places I was being told, people were being told I was in. And, when people are reaching out to you and telling you these stories about yourself that are terrible, it's very upsetting. I'm a very sensitive guy, man. It hurt my feelings really bad. And I never wanted to go on and speak and talk about the things that really happened because I don't want to hurt anybody. I have no desire, in spite of the fact that this person is doing everything that you can possibly do to ruin my freaking life right now, literally. I'm literally almost $11,000 into this. $11,000 in the legal fees to break up with a girlfriend. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's completely unnecessary. And it's all perpetrated on 100% lies. May God strike my children and my grandchildren down with the vengeance of the devil if I'm not telling the truth. Complete 100% fabrications. So the problems that we had, and this is where the bully thing comes in. I moved into this woman's house. She wanted me to come live with her. I wanted to go get an apartment because my house was being sold that I was leasing. Because when I met this person, I was going to move to Tennessee, was one of my plans. But I wanted to stick around here for a year, just figure out what I was going to do. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen, but I had been on and off looking at property down there. So just a couple weeks after getting into this relationship, I asked her to leave my house because she had this complete ridiculous meltdown. It was crazy. It made no sense. I said, I'm not dealing with this kind of nonsense. So she had come back. And I think I told this part of the story once before, but there's more to this. And one day I'm getting home from work a few days later, and my phone rings as my cell phone rings as I'm putting my key in the door, and says, it was her. She says, are you home? And I said, yeah, I just got home from work. She goes, can I talk to you? I go, yeah, what do you want to talk about? He goes, well, can I come by? And I go, where are you? She goes, at the end of your street. And I should have known. I should have not gotten back in the relationship. But I chalked it up to the fact that, she was going through a divorce. I knew it was hard on her. There's just a lot of emotions associated with that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give this another shot. She convinces me to move in with her, so I do. And, things are going great. Love being around this woman. A lot of fun, man, we had such a great time, and she was very sweet to me when things were good. Then things started to get weird. And when she would get mad at me, she would literally, get out of my bed. This is my bed. Get out. And then I have to go down to the couch. Now listen to this. I swear to God, this is all 100% true, and there are people who can back it up. Because I had to go stay with my daughter for a while. I had to go stay with my brother. I slept in my car. I was in hotels. I was showering at fucking truck stops. This is no bullshit. Then she'd come down and wouldn't let me sleep all night long. Just yelling at me, calling me names. And on this device here is hours and hours and hours of recorded insanity that she didn't know I had recorded. I've never been treated. If you ever heard this, and I would never share it online or share, publicly. If you ever heard it, ever were talked to this way, you would never go back to that person again. She would then throw me out of the house. So now it's 4:00 in the morning. Get out of the house. Now you're exhausted. You haven't slept. You can't work. You can't go to work because you got to get some sleep. Go sleep in your freaking car or go get a hotel room. She didn't do that to me once. In 19 months, she did it 14 times. Swear to God, no lies. And I kept going back. My family was like, what are you doing? My friends, my brothers, like, what are you doing? You got to get away from this person. This is madness. It's complete and utter madness. And then wouldn't let me back in the house, wouldn't give me my clothes, just let on and on and on and on. So this went on for almost 2 years. And then, I also had her ex-husband, and God bless him, he's a nice guy, and it's brokenhearted, and I get it. But he's trying to get people, be in the back door on my show to mess with me, and it just doesn't, and he just won't stop messing with her, and it's just horrible. So you have all these other things that are happening that you can't control that other people are thrusting into your life, and then you got to deal with this, I want to be cherished. I need more intimacy. I need this. I'm like, Jesus Christ, we have sex like 10 times a week. How much more intimacy can I possibly provide? And then there's kids, and there's dogs, and there's the house, and the house isn't complete from the construction started from the previous marriage. Now the tile's got to get done. The basement's got to get remodeled. I'm still paying for a new central air conditioning system. No shit in that fucking house. New lights in the kitchen. The pool filter doesn't work, so I got to use one from a friend for nothing. The pump didn't work. I had to fix the pump, and luckily I could fix it. Water heater went out. But there was a fire in the house. One day the cable goes off. Me and her and the kids are having dinner, and the cable goes out. And I go to check the freaking breaker, and the sump pump's got flames shooting 5 feet off the top of it. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, these are the things that are going, and these are normal, everyday things when you have a family and you have a home and things you got to take care of. But every time there was an argument,
I don't know about that.
Every time there was an argument, it would go spin off into this thing that I could never keep up with. Like it would, like if you tell me I'm an asshole, okay, well tell me why. That's how I am. Tell me why. All right, then I won't do it anymore. But then when the conversation gets so convoluted and you start saying things that are untrue and then now you're trying to solve a problem, but you're being forced to defend yourself on a completely separate topic and blah, 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 and it turns into this hullabaloo nightmare. She called the police on me, and she pushed me down a flight of stairs in front of her kids.
I mean, at a certain point, you can't blame someone else when you are the glutton for punishment.
Well, this is you're right. And this is why I'm not angry. I'm literally not angry because I had a responsibility to myself to leave and never come back. But I know what the problems with this person are. And because I love this person so much, I believed in us, and we kept talking about counseling and getting her some help with these, because she always admitted she has these problems getting her thoughts all orchestrated. And And I said, we can get help for this, but we got to go to counseling. If we're going to get married and we're going to build a life for ourselves, I want to make sure we can do this, you know? I want to make sure that we're going to take all the necessary steps. This was me pushing this issue. I'm not saying you're fucking crazy. I'm not saying you but there's ways we can correct some of these problems that you've admitted you have. And then every time I go back, she goes, I know I'm psycho. I do this in every relationship. I ruin every relationship I have. I go, you got to stop it. I can't keep coming back to this. And I would always say, do this to me one more time, I'm never coming back in this door. And I keep coming back in the door. So I'm the dummy. I was the one who put myself in that situation.
And that's exactly what I was talking about with my situation. I had to look at why I kept allowing it. Why did I do that for 12 years?
Oh, so
I had to recognize
12
that
years.
other people... I'm telling you. I mean, so I had a real deep problem, and I had to take ownership of it.
It was so abusive at times. It was so beautiful at times, but it was so abusive
It's
at
just
times.
bipolar.
It was really, really, really hard. Hard because the other problem is when you'd see that behavior, I'd worry about her, and I'm like, you know, because she'd say some things that would raise an eyebrow, and you go, I lost 4 family members to suicide. 4 family members. My grandson's father killed himself. My 2 cousins killed themselves a few years ago, 1 year apart on the same day, 1 year apart from one another on December 23rd. And I had an aunt who killed herself in the my ex-wife's aunt, killed herself in the garage with running the car. Or was it hanging? I can't remember. Because I had a friend whose aunt killed themselves too. Anyway, I take that shit seriously when people talk like that. You know, so, you know, there would be times when her mother would call me and go, why did you leave? I'm like, she's driving me nuts. You can't treat me like this.
Yeah, because there has to be a point that you have a real picture of yourself as not necessary. You can't help that. What kind of help? It's some type of savior or hero complex that you even think that you can help when somebody is that screwed up and doesn't want the help.
You know what
when
it was?
You want help.
I'll tell you what it was. This person, when she loved me, was the love that I always looked for my whole life from my mother, from a woman. It was everything, like a little girl dreams about her wedding dress.
Yeah.
I've dreamt about this my whole life. And man, nobody did it. Nobody made me feel better in those good moments. Nobody ever in my life ever made me feel that way. I didn't want to lose that. And then, the time goes by, you're in 2 years, you fall in love with her kids, you fall in love with the dogs, you fall in love with some of the things that are simple, and going home and seeing their, everybody's faces you care about. So there's a lot of things that suck you into that.
Yeah, it's what I had talked to you about originally. It was an opportunity for you to love yourself more, even more than that love. You had to love yourself more. And
when my friends and family would tell me, you really need to probably get out of this. I got into this. Well, I can get through this. And it's only actually even as of late, and we got back together in March for 9 days, and then went completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on a Saturday night. I took my shit and left. 9 days later, I got a warrant for my arrest on trumped up lies, stealing my own guitar and breaking a television I never even turned on, and that I scratched her, which is preposterous. So this whole thing, it is like, wait a minute. I had to prove I own my guitar. How do you put a warrant out on a warrant? An arrest warrant out for me for taking my own thing. They literally she got away with that.
If you look at it as a lesson from life, though, you see how insistent life is on trying to help you learn a lesson, especially when you're sort of saying that you want to learn it. And I'm telling you, you were backed into a corner. Like, you will either, ruin and kill yourself, or you will figure out that you need to stay out of this and love yourself more.
Well,
no matter what the high moments are. I mean, it's literally life pushing you, like, no, you will learn this, you will learn this, you will learn this. When we refuse to learn, things get worse and worse and worse to try to help us and make us learn.
That's a true, by definition, narcissist. Somebody who's constantly using, saying things to me like, there's 1,000 guys out there who want me. Why would you say that to me? That's not.
It is.
And I heard it all the time,
And that is all that stuff on there
I
that
got
you
guys.
read.
I got people who are going to come here for you. Oh, really? Why would you talk to me that way? You can't.
That's
can't
in
talk
there.
to me.
That's in the DSM. That's
Yeah.
taking those inflated sense of self and hurting another person with it.
Right. And
That's
there's
exactly what it
never a
is.
day that I woke up and in any relationship I've ever had and said, I want to do something that's going to hurt somebody. I want to make them feel really bad. It's just not how I'm wired, But that's what I had to live with. I never knew from day to day how she was going to go to bed, how she was going to wake up, what her personality was going to be like. And it's very draining, and it's hard to get motivated because you're so exhausted with trying to manage this. And then to be told to have all these things continually happen, just if you want me out of your life, give me my stuff and go away.
So if we look at this not from a crazy
Is this you as a counselor, is to not give me my things and to be dragging me through the fucking legal system and to be constantly putting up these posts that everybody knows is directed at me and you're just trying to hurt me, that's a fucking real horrible person, isn't it?
I mean, the thing is, if we try to look from the perspective of someone who is insane, we're going to keep getting a bunch of instability. If we look at it from the perspective of life trying to teach you something, and if the lesson is let this go and love yourself, that's when the tide will begin to turn. It is not going to turn looking at her, but it will turn looking at what is life trying to teach you.
You cared about her and held out hope that she'd change. You saw her potential. I did for 26 years before I finally filed for divorce. Learned the hard way that you have to take the other person at face value and what they are presenting. My brother says a thing all the time. He says, when people show you what you are, what they are, believe them. Here's another thing. And it had something to do with that, I think. Oh shit, I lost my train of thought. This is again, so when I'm constantly being accused of being a narcissist, and it's not true at all in my character and my personality, oh, sure, do I feel good about myself sometimes? Yeah, I do. Sometimes I do things that are pretty freaking cool and pretty amazing. I'm proud of myself. And yes, sometimes I want my partner or somebody I'm doing a job for, whatever, to say, good job. This is awesome. That's why we do things. We want to accomplish things. And when you accomplish things, what's the point of accomplishing things if nobody notices you did them? What would be if you invented the Rayovac battery and you never shared it with anybody? What would be the point of inventing the battery or the light bulb if you weren't going to share it with the world? So the things that I do, I try and share. The music, I try and share. The videos, my funniness, the silliness, and my charm when I'm out at the show.
But if you are waiting,
not me being grandiose or being a narcissist.
If you are waiting for her approval to let this go, you will constantly be in this loop of.
But I'm in the loop,
yourself.
not by choice. I'm in the loop because I'm being drugged into court.
Well, I'm telling you though, that
I can't not
if
go
you
to
look
court.
at it. Of course. But if you look at it from the perspective of life trying to teach you something, which clearly it is, if you decide I'm letting this go, you will see the tide begin to turn. It does not mean you will not go to court. It does not mean that she won't do what she does, but it will change your response if you say, I'm letting it go.
I'm over it.
You haven't let it go, though. Because you continuously...
It's every day in my face.
I understand that we're doing a show about this topic. But until you know that you are not a narcissist and no one can put that on you, you do not have to ever explain again.
I know I'm not.
There's nothing to explain. There's nothing to prove. You don't have to tell anyone that you are this or you aren't that. You're not. It's done. It's over. There's nothing to prove.
Well, I wish it was over, but it's not over.
But it can be
not over till my shit is back in my house.
It can be over for you. And you know what? You are more important than any of that crap.
Oh, listen, I don't disagree with any of that. Again, and it's real easy for everybody to go, you got to let it go, or you got. It's every, it's like been the last week. It's almost daily that I get a phone call about it. I get a text. I get a message. I get a question.
And it's very hard to let go because of the amount of time that you spent in it, and the fact that you kind of like you chose not to learn that lesson because of what the benefit it was bringing you. So now it's very hard to do it. It's not an easy thing, but it is a simple thing. It's simple because it's not complicated. It's not very.
Wouldn't that be the definition of simple, kind of? Not complicated.
Correct. It is simple. It's not easy.
I don't want this shit to drag on, but the problem is like I've told you before, is that people a lot of times think they're helping me or they get a kick out of it. I'm a pretty strong guy when it comes to.
Do you know how many texts I don't look at and how many voicemails I don't listen to because of
I
stuff
do the
like
same
that?
thing, but these are people that I know. And people I know, I respond to. People that I'm close with.
I don't.
Okay, well,
I don't
do.
Always do.
I do, and I've always. It's the same way I never turned my phone off. It's been a real hard chore for me to not answer my phone all the time, because my phone used to ring nonstop from 5 o'clock in the morning until midnight every day.
And this is a discipline for you to begin to let that go.
It took me a long time to get to the point to where I'm not answering my phone, and I don't answer my phone all the time anymore. But there are certain characteristics about myself that I like. And one of them is being kind, understanding, and nurturing, being loving, and trying to solve problems. Now, as far as this situation with this person, her and I'm over that part. I just need all the other drama to stop, because the other drama is affecting my life financially. $11,000 is a lot of money to break up with a girlfriend, and my lawyers think it's going to be upwards of $20,000. I have 2 fucking attorneys for this. 2. She's created a problem by filing a bullshit order of protection saying that she was afraid that I'm going to share intimate pictures and video on the internet, which is absurd. And they grant her this stupid restraining order because if I did that, I'd be kicked off every social media platform I'm on, number one. Number two, I would never do it. She has young children. I don't want to ruin her life. I don't have that interest. But now because of that, anywhere, I cannot promote the shows I'm going out to shoot the week before. I can only promote them afterwards, because if she shows up, I have to pack up and leave, even if I'm getting paid. Now, I have an attorney working on this to get some amendment to this, but it's going to, how am I going to spend $10,000 to get an amendment to that? And it lasts till November 22nd for no fucking reason. The order of protection isn't that I was violent. It's because you're afraid I'm going to share videos of us together. Stupid. And it's also got some lies in there that I stalked her at that show that she met her new boyfriend at. None of it was true. I didn't even know she was there.
All right, I have a challenge for you, and then I have to go.
Okay, what is it? We got to play this song.
Yeah, I know. So the challenge is this. If you look at people's lives and you see that the way they think life is going to be for them is how life is for them. If you can notice that, that's a very, very powerful thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like that. So what's the challenge?
That's the challenge. To notice. Yeah, because like when I started learning about this stuff, they said, notice that people who say every time I wash my car it rains, which people don't really say that anymore. But people used to say that a lot. And I started noticing that. And I was like, wow, it does. But like that doesn't happen to me because I don't say that. And it's not just because it's not words, it's the belief. The way you believe your life is going to be is often the way life turns out. When people believe that life's a bitch and then you die, their life really is kind of a bitch. But when you don't believe life is like that, notice the lives of people who don't believe that. They believe life is good. Things are going to work out for me. Miracles are going to happen for me. Look at their life, because it does. That's your challenge.
That's interesting. And one thing I just wanted to touch on here, she says, you're far from over her. You know, maybe to a certain degree, here's the thing. I have a special place in my heart for every person. I am friends with almost every girl I've ever dated. I've only been in love a couple of times, and one of them was with this person. It breaks my heart, but it would be easier to get past this all if I didn't constantly have to talk to my attorney every week. I didn't have to write out all this stuff and take inventories of my property and go through, spend 3 hours going through pictures of all my personal belongings that are on my devices that I may have to present to them so they can get them back from. And then I got to value them. You can't turn it off when this is constantly my life. The person who needed, listen, I left her in October, not to break up with her, just because I said, until you get some of your shit up here in check, I'm not going to live here because I can't handle this hostage. It's like a hostage situation. You holding my personal belongings hostage,
right, we got it.
locking me out. So, but I said, I want to go to counseling. The night she cheated on me, 4 hours before that, sent me a text saying I'm waiting for counseling with bated breath. And I was so excited. I was like, awesome, So we hadn't had a chance to talk, and then I showed up because I was bringing some drum equipment with my brother to actually is the guy she cheated on me with, which he didn't know that I was her boyfriend. So all this fucking nightmare is happening before my eyes in front of people I know. It was humiliating. It was embarrassing. I still look past it all. So maybe what I'm not over is how humiliated and ridiculously I was treated from then into March, and then to now. I've never, that's the worst situation of abuse I've ever endured in my life. Mm-hmm. And now it's just continues. Every single week, every day of my life until this trial happens is consumed with this crap. And it's freaking driving me nuts because it's like, yeah, I can't get her out of my head. I can't get the situation out of my head because nobody will let it get out of my head.
We are building our house in a storm here, but I'm not going to leave you through it. We're going to get through it.
All right, listen, we want to play this song for you. This is Savannah. Let's get her thing up here. So,
did I press the thing?
Not yet. In just a second. So tell us about this young lady. How old is
she?
Quickly.
She is like 20 nothing, if that. She might be 19. She just left Columbia University because it was liberal nonsense. And it's so exciting because she went there in order to have a career, but she left there and God has now given her a career. And so she ran into a couple of what we call MAGA rappers or conservative rappers, and they listened to little songs she wrote for herself for fun and said, hey, we're going to put beats behind that. Like, we like this thing, and put it on their channel. And now, it's up to 60,000 hits. Today, she dropped a new song, and just so excited for her. God has really big things for her. And it just showed, like, when she walked away from the nonsense because she didn't want to get indoctrinated as a young woman, like, God is giving her her dreams now because she basically chose him. So it's really exciting.
Oh, and she's a very pretty young lady, too. So men, she's easy on the eyes.
Enjoy.
All right, let's play this song, and we'll be right back here on the DAG Show, and say good night. Go ahead, let's move it.
Whoops, sorry. All right, my daughter's hearing it.
Oh. All right, I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to have to reload this. So give me 1 second here, guys. Yeah, it just seems like it keeps trying to reload. And we just watched this video. There we go. Right, this is a commercial. Baby registry. Because she's young, like... Oh, I just put that together. This is this song. We'll be right back.
Population high level of success. Margaret Sanger, that's a devil in a dress. Trick the world, he ain't exist. That's what the devil did best. Got in your mother's womb, limbs ripped from your flesh. 350,000 babies, that's a mass murder. Planned Parenthood 1 year and they last murder. Talking about 89 seconds ago. By the time the song over, it'll be too mo. 62 million slain since Roe versus Wade. I ain't talking foreign, that's a whole USA. Over 1,600,000,000 since 1980. They love killing our children. I throw the numbers out there to give you real shock value. The mind is a weapon, that's some real shots at you. Joe Biden satanic, hate Christian, fake Catholic. Shout out to Lala Rose for exposing what's happened, exposing the truth since 15 years old. That's a whole lot to do for a 15-year-old. Hillary Clinton is cold, she done been sold a soul. Another die-hard supporter of population control. Nowadays they kill a baby took 9 months to grow. Should've thought about the thought like 9 months ago. Nowadays they kill a baby took 9 months to grow. Should've thought about the thought like 9 months ago. Population high level of success. Margaret Sanger, that's a devil in a dress. The world he ain't exist, that's what the devil did best. Die in your mother's womb, limbs ripped from your flesh. 350,000 babies, that's a mass murder. Planned Parenthood 1 year and they last murder. Happened about 89 seconds ago. By the time the song over, it'll be too mo. All these Democrats so quick to support abortion. Funny thing is, none of them ever been aborted. Shout out to Reagan, Pastor Ronald and Donald. Joe Biden is a clown, Ronald McDonald. Y'all glorify criminals, sacrifice innocent. Praise George Floyd, but laugh about an infant death. Steps for the immigrants, what about a baby step? When this verse done, it be one more baby we step. All going to hell, cause heaven is full. How you pull a child apart after crushing his skull? We all going to hell, cause heaven is full. With all the innocent babies, it's inevitable. DD, population high level of success. Margaret Sanger, that's a devil in a dress. The world he ain't exist, that's what the devil did best. Die in your mother's womb, limbs ripped from your flesh. 350,000 babies, that's a mass murder. Planned Parenthood 1 year and they last murder. Happened about 89 seconds ago. By the time the song over, it'll be too mo. By the time the song over, it'll be too mo. What's worse, doing it or not doing anything to stop it? Or not doing anything to stop it?
Well, that is an exceptionally. Well, let me get this in here.
Did you know that the average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop
That
in
is
their
a
body at
very
any given
talented
moment?
young lady. Her name is Savannah, and you can look her up on YouTube. She's also got another. This song is called "Heaven Is Full," and it's kind of ironic that it's about abortion, and the commercial that YouTube chose to put in front of it was about babies. So. She's got another song, and it is called, where is it? It's called, I Want to Be Like Candace. Really, really great song. It's a song she wrote about Candace Owens. It's really a great tune. But anywho, that's Savannah from North Carolina. Very powerful song and very powerful message. So I think we're going to see some big things from her. And I'm looking forward to her putting out some more videos. So go check her out. Don't forget Death Pop Radio, Seventh Heaven. And 1096. I'm going to close with another 1096 song. Listen, I want to thank you guys all for spending time with me all these years. New followers and old followers, like, share, and follow my stuff if you like any of it or you think anything I have to say has any merit. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit those like buttons and hearts and things like that because that helps the Facebook algorithm. I'm going to keep plugging away here, and thanks for listening to me. Let's just stop using the terms narcissist and racism, and let's just stop pointing out everybody's imperfections. We all have them. I'm not perfect. This other person isn't perfect. Dr. Felicity's not perfect. None of us are all perfect, but if we work hard to try and get past the nonsense. And, you guys made a lot of good points here, Helen and Rosalie. Maybe in a certain situation, I'm not over all of this. And it's very hard to be since I'm dealing with it constantly. I would think that, if you wanted this to end, you just end it and move on, give me my things back. But, apparently somebody just wants to keep pushing. So it's very frustrating for me. I'm not going to do any more shows on it, at least not until court, and we'll see if that warrants anything. Maybe after the trial in late August or September. And yes, only Jesus, only God is perfect. You're absolutely right. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Felicia. She had to roll, and because she got her daughter actually brought her here tonight, so she had to get out of here. I've got a big day tomorrow. I've got a big show coming up with David Mills Skulkis, or I'm not sure how I say that. Next week, that's going to be a lot of fun, and just more things, more and more stuff happening. I start recording the demos for the new record for this year that hopefully will be out by Christmas, and we're just the DAG's just gonna keep pushing through. And I'm going to stay single for a while, I think. I'll date a little bit here and there, but I think I'm going to stay single for quite a while again. Go back to that 7-year stint. That was nice. No more narcissist words, no more racist words. No more racism, no more narcissism. It's done. It's overused. I will put, I can't put the link up. If you go to Healthline, there's this interesting article on narcissism, and you can see what I'm talking about how it has a tendency, because they add 11 things there, how it has a tendency to contradict itself. And this is why the DS5 wants to remove this from all of the teachings and just you're just an asshole. If you're just really terrible to people, you're just an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a racist. Don't be mean to your partner. Don't be a bully. Work through your problems and don't be an asshole. So that's all we got. I'm going to close up here with 1096. Let me see here. Let me pull this up and get it rolling here. This is Bye Bye June. This is a great tune by this band, and I'll be right back here on the DAG Show, and we'll say goodnight.
Are you just going to stand there, or are you going to play something?
Play what? One half
1096. Bye June. You can catch them and some of their other videos on YouTube. Just look them up. 1096, spelled 10, 9, 10, the word 10, and 96. Anyway, here, let me get that done. We'll get our closing outro. Again, thank you everybody for joining me. Thank you for paying any attention to me all this time and all these years. More great shows are coming up, and I'm excited about them. You're going to see some great Chicago talent here this summer, and it's going to be a big year. It's going to be a banner year. New DAG record coming out later this year, and yeah, probably a show or two. I might do a show. I don't know. We'll see. So much work. Being in a band is so much work. But anyway, I love you guys. Always be good to one another. Like, share, and follow. Hit the hearts. Hit the things. Be on it. Thomas Merritt, glad to see you're feeling better. And I'll be coming up to Wisconsin. We're going to be going out and doing a show together here very soon. You can always watch the replay of the show here in just a couple minutes. You take care. Peace. And I love you all. Bye-bye.